So there's a small YouTube channel named Olive Oil Run, and yeah, I just finished filming the Piper Raquel video as I'm filming this, and I wanted to go over to something more lighthearted real quick. And also, yes, this is another prediction that I've correctly made on Olive Oil Run and like how bad of a person she is. I'm just gonna be talking about this real quick. And before we continue, by the way, don't go out there and harass this person. She's pretty much already going through the thick of it, dude. I mean, like, look at her eyes, bro. She is zooted out of her mind, dude. Holy moly. I don't think I've even seen Scooby this zooted, bro. Like, look at this. And not everything I say here is true, by the way. Like, all of this is just my opinion. I'm not, like, saying any objective truths. I'm just here to talk about someone that I severely dislike and, like, talk about why I dislike that person. So with that being said, let's begin. She took down, I think, all the podcasts that she was doing, and like she just has these videos right here where like some of them are like kind of silly actually, like dating is oppressive for women. That's quite a title. Men need to learn their place in society. So I see she's still a misandrist. Also, on top of that, how to make a sandwich, dude. I made a sandwich yesterday. I don't need a guide for this. Like, you don't. Now, what's crazy to me is that her entire thing revolves around like men, right? But her entire brand is revolved around hating men. But she has a fansly. I don't even think she realizes that like her entire target demographic is men. So when you are crapping on those men, they don't want to subscribe to you unless they're into that stuff, which, hey, I mean, like, if you're into that, then good for you, I guess. But, you know, like, she's crapping on men while also trying to appeal to men, so basically they should bow down and give you all of their money? Yeah, sure. That's like pay piggy behavior, dude. Like you can't just do that. That's like if I were like to. That's like if our virtual enterprise like company in my class, like for a business, if we were to crap on our entire target demographic and just say, hey, all of you buyers suck. You need to buy our product right now or else you suck. But you still suck. Like that, do you see the problem there? That doesn't really work. That is not a good sustainable business model. Some of the things that I'm also seeing in your like latest video, honestly, like I'd prefer it if you just had your podcast up, bro. Like I'm looking at this right now. This is sad. Like, okay, so like let's just take a look at this one video called Men Need to Learn Their Place in Society real quick. So in the video, she says that men used to like do more stuff like, you know, going to war and things like that. So you are advocating for war. You are saying that men should be going to war. That's crazy. Like, even like let's just say you're not advocating for war in the sense of like, oh, fighting against like, you know, certain people. You are advocating for everyone else to be fighting against each other. That is crazy work right there. Like, I don't understand. Like, so you're saying that like the wars in like Gaza, like that's okay, that men should be fighting like that? That's disgusting. You are encouraging death on a massive scale. You are encouraging people to be put inside a meat grinder. That is crazy work, dude. What baffles me even more is that you say that we have a male promiscuity problem. Where's your source? You don't have sources? Like, where are your sources? You don't even swap to any screen. You're just pulling statements out of your ass, which is par for the course considering you have to show your ass in order to make money on your fansly. But anyways, yeah, you just pull statements out of nowhere. I can find a few sources. Here are a few sources right now. You guys can go take a look at it yourself. Believe it or not, the statistics do not lie. However, people frame it in such a way where it fits their own narrative. Not only that, if you were to do what I just did right now, you would also be in the wrong. You want to know why? It's because the way that like these statistics are gathered, it isn't representative of the entire population, but rather a certain sample size. So let's just take a look at this graph, for example, from this website called Medium, right? So let's just observe and hone in on like a certain thing. 50 to 59 age range, right? 23% of men have cheated on their spouses, whereas 15% of women have cheated on their spouses, right? So all of a sudden, you would probably think, oh, well, I mean, that just means that men are more likely to cheat on women. No, that is not the case at all. That just means out of our current population of men, 23% of them, or at least approximately 23%, remember this is just gathered from a sample size, approximately 23% of men that we have gathered right now have cheated on their spouses, whereas as like whatever amount of women that we have right now, 15% of women have cheated on their spouses. That doesn't mean all of a sudden like they're more likely. In fact, if you actually want to take a look at it this way, if we were to actually, you know, gather like a certain amount of people, it is possible that less men have cheated on their spouses than women if you were to take like the entire human population. But rather, this just came from a sample size. So this is not indicative of whether or not like, oh, like men are just more likely to cheat on women. That's not the case at all, actually. In fact, this just means that like percentages of a certain gender that we have cheated on their spouses. It's not indicative of any trend. Remember, correlation does not equal causation. As someone who is currently taking an AP stats class and is like, you know, learning how to be more literate and things like that, because, you know, I have a freaking B in that class, I need to get that up to an A, but it just infuriates me that people are not only not even taking a look at the statistics at this point, like Olive Oil Run, or should I say Playmate Tessi, but at the same time, I legitimately am just getting upset at the fact that people aren't even reading these statistics correctly, and that just really annoys me. Another thing that really annoys me about her is that she never brings up any examples. Have you ever dated anybody like before? I don't think people would have wanted to date you in the first place, so I feel like you're projecting. But even then, let's just say that you have dated somebody, right? Bring up those examples. Maybe just say, oh, I remember I had a partner once who couldn't even make a sandwich, like you claim, right? You would at least say, yeah, like when I dated somebody, or like when I ran into somebody, like they didn't know how to make a sandwich. I don't know, maybe I went to Dr. Phil and I asked Dr. Phil, hey, can you make me a sandwich? And Dr. Phil was like, hell no, lady, you go do it. You're the wench here. You know, something like that. But no, you don't even bring up examples. And by the way, I'm not calling anybody a wench here. That was just like for comedic effect. But I'm just saying, you know, like you could at least bring up examples, because if you are going to be bringing up an argument such as this, at least bring up examples, bro. Like that's a literary device, dude. That's like, you know, something that strengthens your argument ever so slightly. But no, your argument is thinner than paper. It is weak. It sucks. Also, she keeps saying back in the old days, like she was in the old days. Lady, you're younger than my brother. You can't be saying things like this. You're younger than my older brother, dude. This is crazy stuff. And you're only 5 years older than me. This is like crazy work. You are telling, like, if you're telling this to a younger audience, first of all, that's really weird that you have young people in your audience when you wear the things you wear and advertise yourself the way that you do and, you know, run the fans and things like that. That's very concerning. Again, in this statement right here where you say, oh, men can't even water one plant, example where, you know, like I'm just saying, like this, by the way, this isn't like supposed to be a racist thing what I'm about to say here, but I've seen a lot of Hispanic like gardeners and like people of that nature, like they can water a plant and they're a male. Like, is that all of a sudden an oxymoron? No, you can't do that. And let's just take for another example, my brother, he takes care of some flowers sometimes, and yeah, sure, sometimes they like die out, but I mean, like, come on, you know, like, he can water a plant. So be more specific with what you're trying to say if you want to be a misandrist. And not only that, your nasally voice from all this vaping, like, I think it's taking a toll on you, bro. Like, you gotta lay off the vape, dude. Like, put the cap back on your pen, and maybe you should start going outside and breathing in oxygen instead of nicotine. You also say, and I quote, and this is a very rich quote, men are too busy whoring around. Oh man, oh sorry, I had like a very nasty cough and like all those screenshots dropped out of my hands. But anyways, yeah, this is so ironic, and I can't even watch this entire video because this entire video is just a shit show from left to right, bro. Left, right, down, center, doesn't really matter. Like front stage, backstage, it is just crazy to me how you are saying the things you are. Every sentence that comes out of your mouth, I gotta like pause my laptop and just put my hand on my head, like fathoming the idea, the mere thought of somebody like her existing is crazy. And this is even putting aside the whole making fun of a cancer patient thing. And I can't even watch this in good faith anymore because, like, What are you even saying? What are you waffling about, bro? There's nothing that comes out of your mouth that makes sense. Maybe it's because you're so high off your rocker that you think what you're saying makes sense, but no, you just sound geriatric. Also, thank you to the person on screen for pointing out that she was the Dr. Phil guest that made fun of the leukemia patient. Yeah, that's not good, obviously. And after watching the Dr. Phil episodes that she was in, which by the way, I can tell that's her because same makeup style, same chin line, same eye shape, same nose shape. You know, if it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, acts like a duck, it probably is a duck, you know? So yeah, I mean, thank you to the person for pointing this out. Her brain cells got to be the loneliest mofo in like its perceived world if she acts the way she does like on screen in real life. Like her brain cell is probably feeling like it's in the ninth circle of hell right now in Dante's Inferno. Like that's some crazy stuff for that to be going on. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I really gotta say. Overall, I'm right on the money here when it comes to Olive Oil Run. Yeah, I just think that she is a horrible person. People are starting to realize that, which does make me happy. I'm glad that people are starting to realize, hey, maybe this person might be an idiot. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I really gotta say. I hope you all have a good day, and bye.